to the city, I ain't saying names, I'm skin on your ass. You niggas finna start making me stash. You talking that trash, you leaving the bag. It ain't Halloween, I pop up in the mask. Chop the shit down, you don't try hell. Yeah, he think he the one time. I smack him so hard, make him piss on himself. For two, I don't like you, you disrespect bros. For shit, make you shit on yourself. Boy, I hate you with this shit, I swear to God, bitch, you be begging for help.
What up?
700, turned around and said 7, ain't you no bill? Bitch, you just bought a whole lot of guns and wait by them guns for no reason. You better have a gun when I see you, I promise you, boy, you gon' need it.
Gonna get into some tarot today. Gonna do a couple readings. See what's going on in the universe. What up? What up? Peace. What up? LA in the building. What up, LA? What up? I'll definitely be in LA pretty soon. You know what I mean? That's why I got the hat on. I'll be in LA pretty soon. Don't even trip. Can you get a card? Alright, for the person that want a card, I'm not gonna keep the music going. I just got it. It's just an intro. Alright. For the person that wanted a card, here you go. The Ace of Swords. So for the person that want a card, this is the Ace of Swords. New thoughts. That's what we're going to talk about today anyway. So we're going to go deeper into this. We're going to let it play out. All right. Selecting the start of that. Alright. Song almost over. So we're going to get into all those questions in just a second. Alright. You know, we had to put on the hardcore shit. I may play something else later on. Alright. What up? So we had to start off with that gangster shit. You know what I mean? Fucking death magic around this motherfucker. See, just to give a little understanding of, you know, this music and what's going on today. Music is reflective of what's actually going on. So, for all of you here, I would think everybody's into some type of spirituality in their own way, form, or fashion. And there may be some people watching who don't know anything about it. But you can understand why there is so much beef in music. There is so much, you know, gruesome lyrics and, you know, fuck the dead homies and, you know, war. This is all because it's just a certain element of life that needs to be in place for shit to keep moving. In other words, if motherfuckers wasn't beefing, motherfuckers wouldn't be doing shit else. Sometimes you need to beef with a motherfucker just to step your game up. Sometimes you need some beef. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes you need somebody to check you. Sometimes you need somebody to come at you incorrectly so that you can show and prove what you made of. You know? Again, shout out to LA. I'll be there pretty soon. But what's the title of this? There is no fucking title. Again, I'm not here to teach anything. I'm just here to share my thoughts about what's going on my mind currently, right? I brought the tarot cards along. Tarot cards will do some help. The beef makes you work harder, absolutely, because if you got somebody, you know, saying that you this, you that, and either you are that or you not that, but you're going to go hard either way, you know? So I'm probably going to play the same song again. Hardcore at all times, gangster rap, because it's a lifestyle of the dead, communicating with the dead, interacting with the dead, working with spirits around us. For the spiritual people out there, if you can apply the spirituality to anything else in life, it'll make anything make sense. So whatever you feel is in chaos, because a lot of people feel hip-hop is in chaos. You know, it's just A lot of people, coming up real fast, getting the attention and the shine. But there's like beefs all day, every day. It's all types of stuff going on. So on the surface, it may seem very chaotic, but it's a necessary element for evolution. So looking at everything from that perspective, it's just time for war. We've been talking about the death spirits. We've been talking about death energy. Everybody knows what happened in Vegas. It's just time for war. The war is not physical. We all know this, right? We understand that we're inside our own minds. We inside the matrix. We understand these basic concepts. But the issue is, now it's time to go beyond basic concepts. How many times am I going to sit here before you and tell you what you already know? Eventually, you have to come with some extraordinary information. And the only way to come with that extraordinary information is doing something original and trusting that the spirit is speaking through you. Spiritual warfare, absolutely. It's a spiritual warfare. It's a mental warfare in terms of with information. Some people have a difference of opinion when it comes to information. And some people beef over that. You see beef all over the place. You got religions beef with each other. You got spiritual systems beef with each other. You got music artists. You got, politics. It's war all in the world. It's chaos all in the world. But it's always been that way. Because a lot of people like to think that it was ever a time and a place where everybody was on the same page. That time has never been. It's never been a time where everybody agreed, right? So just keeping that into perspective, war is necessary. As the great Nas said, it's a song of his. War is necessary. And because war is necessary, this is why we equipped ourselves spiritually, so that you can protect all this outside intrusion. If we ever want to elevate, see again, I don't want to really speak abstractly in this video. Like, what do you mean by elevate? What do you mean by ascension? What do you mean by evolve? I'm not really talking about physically. What I'm talking about is a psychological evolution. Everything is psychological. All secrets are psychological. Because we all know, right? You change your mind, your body follows. But sometimes it takes a lot to change your mind, especially when you're going up against programming that you see on a daily basis, you hear on a daily basis. You may even speak on a daily basis. For example, if anybody is speaking about a reality that they don't agree with, then maybe you shouldn't speak about it. For example, let's see, a common one is everybody trying to get more money, right? Because everybody wants to be successful, whatever that means. And what I want to talk about is you can follow any steps to success from anybody. It doesn't guarantee it's going to work, right? And I'll hold it there because I see people asking questions. I haven't really been answering questions. So just to kind of give you a premise of where I'm going with this. Now, somebody asked me, who was my favorite rapper? And again, I'm not going to be here too long. Who was my favorite rapper? I can't really say. I can't really say who my favorite is because who I just let y'all hear, that was FBG Duck. Artist name, the title name is When I See You. Right? Just for anybody who want to know who that is. And I can't name a favorite rapper, but I can say I have a favorite region. And my favorite region is obviously the Midwest, because that's where I'm from. And West Coast. Let me break it down this way. and we don't have to spend too much time on her. There's something about each region that I enjoy. But, we're in 2017, like everything is kind of blended in together. So you don't necessarily have to have a lyrical artist come out of New York, or a certain type of rapper coming from down south. The regions don't really matter too much. You can get all type of artists from anywhere. But there's a theme. What do I mean by that? Like the Midwest, some of the classical artists from the Midwest, like a Twister, a Bone Thugs and Harmony, even an Eminem, they have very hardcore styles. Peace, peace, peace. So if you know anything about Chicago, as I'm pretty sure most people do, Detroit, where I'm from, is the next state over. So everything that you see there was happening in my town too. It just was a different motivation. So in terms of now, if you ask me 2017 going into 2018, what am I really listening to? I'm revamping my whole music catalog is being revamped because there's so many people I haven't heard of. I'm not even really in tune that much to really give you a correct answer at this point because there's just so much coming out. Music is coming out every day, and I'll sit here and be lying to you if I said I'm keeping up with every single new artist and every single song and what's hot on the radio. I'm not sure. But again, shout out to LA, because I spent a lot of time there. And that's when I found out about the world in LA. Now, somebody asked me about spirits. How do I know spirits is real? Before we get into the meat of the video. How do I know spirits is real and all around us? Very good question, because I don't expect you to take anything I say on face value. I inspire everybody to do their own experiments. And that's what I want to make the point there, where it's about experiments. Not necessarily experience, but experiments. Now, what do I mean? What's the difference? There's a difference between what you go through, which will be experience, and an actual test when you actually are moderating the test, like you are in control of the test that you're doing. See, experience is just things that happen. Experiment is you in control of the experience. And when you are in control of the experience, because you are calling the shots and you are plotting and planning based on you working with a particular type of energy. I'll give you an example, because I see everybody is coming with a lot of questions. I can just ask you questions all video if y'all want me to. Y'all just keep them coming. And if I don't see it, just ask it again. But to finish up my answer, how do I know spirits is real? Experiments and experience. You have to test things out and see the results. For example, people have a particular deity, a favorite deity, or a favorite energy, a favorite spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? Now, whatever the reason is that that's your favorite spirit, that's your go-to spirit, whether it's influenced by the sun, the moon, Mercury, whatever, all these things, the planetary influence. We all have a dominant planetary influence. It may be your sun sign, if you're a Libra, then that would be Venus, so on and so forth. So once you know what spirit you're drawn to or what planet you're drawn to, the second thing you do is you find out what particular spirits deal with that particular energy. What spirits deal with the energy of Venus? What spirits deal with the energy of Saturn? What spirits deal with the energy of the sun, right? Whatever. Once you locate what spirits do what, look at your solar deities. For example, let's just say it's the sun. You're drawn to solar deities, regardless of the culture or the tradition it comes from. What you will want to do is construct an altar To make it simple, an altar is just a physical representation of your spiritual ideals. What do I mean by that? Meaning sometimes when you are doing spiritual work, you may get thrown off, it may be hard for you to focus. You may plan to do a ritual, right? And it can be a very intricate ritual. So you will put things on your altar to remind you of what exactly you're doing and for what reason and what you're looking for. For example, let's just say, because we're dealing with solar deities, right? For example, so if you're dealing with solar deities, solar deities is dealing with the crown chakra, and the crown chakra is all about enlightenment, right? It's basically getting back to your cosmic source. I already talked about this, right? Connecting with your cosmic source. That's why you would connect with a solar deity. Now, what is a solar deity like? The Egyptian god Ra, the Egyptian god Capri, so on and so forth, right? Horus or Haru, whatever you want to call it, right? You will put things on your altar to remind you of those principles that you are trying to connect with, such as connected with your cosmic origins. So you will have something on your altar that will be a physical representation of that idea that you're trying to pull into this reality, right? So as an example, whatever in your mind reminds you of that, you will put it on your altar. So what will remind you of what are your cosmic origins? You may want to put certain imagery on your altar. You may want to put imagery of stars and a sun in the middle of the stars, like a sun, or you can draw the image yourself. You don't necessarily got to print nothing out, right? You put a sun in the middle and you put stars around the sun. What you want to do is create symbols. This is why I talk about symbols. What you're doing is creating symbols. You're creating symbols to connect with certain aspects of the mind. In this case, your cosmic origins. So you create a symbol to represent your cosmic origins. However you create the symbol or whatever you want to use for the symbol is completely up to you. That's where your creativity comes in. So for somebody, it may be a drawing. For another person, it may be a painting. For another person, it may be a god or a goddess. For another person, it may be a hat with a symbol, LA, LA, the sun city. Somebody may put the hat on there, right? So whatever the motivation is, you want to put a physical representation of your ideas on your altar so that you can stay focused on whatever you're trying to accomplish. Because it's easy to get thrown off. We all deal with life on a daily basis. So every morning and every night, when you enter into your sacred space or your meditation and, you visualizing your altar and you thinking about the ideas, what you're doing is on a daily basis, you begin to feed these ideas by having your thoughts on the idea for an extended amount of time. Active meditation, this is called. It's active meditation. So you are choosing the type of things that you want to meditate on. And as you meditate upon these things, there are going to be certain things that click on in your brain that's going to help you make further connections that you may not have thought about prior to the meditation. So let's just say you have 5 items on your altar to represent 5 different ideals, one being your cosmic origin. So you will have 4 other ideals that pertain to the sun and the principles that the sun, it could be a principle of alchemy, So just as a quick example, you put these things on your altar and whatever else that represents the sun to you. So in about 30 days, we'll say 30 days, after doing this every day for 30 days, you're going to be in a space where those ideals make more sense to you and they seem more feasible in your reality. It may not make no sense to nobody else. Nobody else can really understand your vision anyway, especially when you talk about spirituality and you're combining the unseen with the seen. The things that you can see is just reminding you of the things that you don't see. And the things that you don't see has rule or power over the things we do see. What do I mean? Because again, the question was, how do you know spirits are real? You know spirits are real. Let's break down what is a spirit before we get into what makes them real. Well, what is a spirit? Because everybody may have their own definition of what a spirit is. Now, you can say, since I have the tarot cards with me here, I can give a pictorial example. Symbols are spirits. Start with that, right? Look at the back of this. See the cross? It's not just any cross. It's a specific type of cross. And it's not just a specific type of cross. You see that it's a rose cross because you see a rose in the middle of it. Not only is it a rose cross, how many petals are on this rose? 22. If you count those, see if y'all can get a good image. If you count these, you see the colors. If you count these joints, right, it's 22 of these. And you see another cross with a rose in the middle, right? The 22 petals of the rose correspond with the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Those can be considered spirits as well because they all have energy. Numerology can be considered spirits. Astrology can be considered spirits. Numbers. How would a number be a spirit? The fact that you can change your house vibration lets you know the power of spirits. What do I mean? Because right now, the energy, the home energy that I'm working with is, of course, the solar energy, the energy of the sun. So that's probably why I'm talking about it, because that's the energy I'm in. So the house I'm in is naturally a 7. Like if I take the magical aspects away from it, it will be a number 7, which is K2, which is the dark side of the moon. So it's more of a gloomy feel, more of a heavier feel, more of, your dreams are more active. It's more lunar based than solar based, naturally. But once I apply the influence on it by putting a number 3 on the back of the door, 7 plus 3 is 10. Take away the 0, you're going to get back to 1. 1 represents the sun. Now, by me being in the energy of the house, I can tell there's a difference from the energy before I put the energy into it by changing the vibration. So something as simple as putting a number on the back of your door can completely change the dynamics of your home. That's one reason why you know spirits are real. That's because it's really just an intangible representation of something tangible. What do I mean? Because the number 1 has more influence than just a house number. It can be your zodiac sign. For example, if you're a Leo, or if you have Leo anywhere in your chart, that's ruled by the sun. So you're dealing with the energy of the sun when it comes to your chart. You're dealing with the energy of the sun when it comes to your numerology chart. You can deal with the energy of the sun when it comes to your house vibration. You may be dealing with the energy of the sun when it comes to your name. When you break down the letters of your name using numerology and it breaks down to a 1, that means your name resonates with the energy of the sun. So saying all these things to say, what makes spirits real? What is a spirit? A spirit is a energy, right? A spirit is an intelligence. Numbers are an intelligence. Numbers are not just things that we add up, right? Yeah, you see the flickers. That's what I'm saying. Numbers are not just things we add up. 1 plus 1 equal 2. That's not just, you use it for mathematics, right? We know that the universal language is mathematics, right? You can find sacred geometry on any aspect of life. And sacred geometry is mathematical in nature. The universe speaks a mathematical language. The mathematical language is a symbolic language because you can't just look at it, especially when you're dealing with higher levels of math. You know, if you look, let's just say, for example, the theory of relativity by Albert Einstein, right? We've all heard about that, but have you actually seen the formula that he came up with? The formula for the theory of relativity? Looking at all the symbols and the mathematical codes and how he broke it down to a formula? The average person would not understand anything that is written down in those signs and symbols. But to the trained eye, they know exactly what they're looking at. So not only is the language of the universe mathematical, mathematics is a symbolic language. So going to our numerology, somebody said, did I hear about the D wave? That's my last video was about the D wave. I'll title this later, number 1. I talked all about the D wave. So just go to the last video, hear all about it. Now, going back to the numbers. So if we understand that numbers are entities, numbers can be considered spirits. Now, what does that have to do with an actual deity? Now, the reason I brought the planetary influence into the equation is because each spirit or deity can be broken down to a planetary influence. Anything can be broken down to a planetary influence, whether we're talking about color, we're talking about numbers, right? We're talking about somebody's natal chart, whatever, license plates, numbers, whatever we want to, whatever symbols we want to go to, everything will be able to come down to a planetary influence, a planetary vibration. No matter if you're talking about herbs, you're talking about crystals, you're talking about deities, you're talking about spirits, it all comes down to symbols, and these symbols have an intelligence. So the number 1 is intelligent. There's an intelligence there. So when you have the energy of the sun in your home, as an example, you will feel not only the energy of the sun, but the intelligence. It has an energy or a presence, but it also has an intelligence. And you will be able to interact with the intelligence of the number. So that's what spirits is. Spirits are more like a medium for you to have a personal interaction with a particular energy that already exists, but you can't see it. So the sun, we have a sun within us. We just can't see it. We see the outer sun. We see the outer moon. We see the outer planets, right? But you don't see what's going on with us. You don't see the inner view. The outer view is just reflecting the inner view. But since we don't see the inner view, it's all symbolized by what we see outside. So when you look up at the sun, it has its practical use, what the sun actually does, photosynthesis and all that. And, help everything grow, gives life to everything. So it has its practical use, but it also has a symbolic message or a symbolic principle. And that's what the deities represent. So if you look up deities like Horus, like Ra, like Ampri, so on and so forth, whatever you consider a solar deity, they all represent certain principles, right? For example, Horus is the god of rulership or the god of kingliness, whatever you want to call it, right? That's an energy of the sun. That comes from the sun. The sun represents that principle. So if you work directly with the energy of the sun, there's certain principles that it is represented by. And when you connect with these principles, that's when, right, somebody's Shiva. Exactly. That's another solar deity. You connect with these energies, you can interact with the intelligence of the energies directly. So that's what a spirit is. A spirit is an intelligence that you can have a personal interaction with. That's what you do spiritual work for, to have a personal connection with these intelligence. I mean, just like me and you and all of you are intelligent beings. We're not just beings, we're intelligent beings. We can think for ourselves. There is an intelligence, such as the sun. It can think for itself. That's what people are doing with the D wave and the artificial intelligence. They are building computers that think for themselves. That's essentially what a quantum computer is. That's essentially what artificial intelligence is. A computer that can think for itself. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to recreate nature. and they want to put it into machinery. So that's what science does. Science takes the universal information and the universal laws, and they think, how can we use this, to build something? They're not necessarily looking, they don't really care about how it works. Well, they can tell you all about how something works, but they can't give you the reason why. They can tell you all about the human body. They can tell you all about the earth. They can tell you all about psychology. They can tell you all about everything else, physics, metaphysics, but they don't have an answer to why this is, because they don't believe in a supreme intelligence. They still believe in the Big Bang theory. And the Big Bang theory goes that the shit is random. It was an explosion. It was just, the universe was doing this thing, but, shit happened, and, we just got here. So they don't believe in a supreme intelligence or a God. But that's the majority of people out here who, like to be logical and neglect their creativity. Creativity is connected with the spirit. You use your creativity to connect with the spirit. That's why you construct things like altars. That's why people get into trance states, with music or dancing, poetry, whatever you do creative. That's how you connect with this intelligence. So people who are writers, are they really coming up with the things they are writing down, or are they really just connected with an intelligence and they're just writing down what they see? Let me say that again. Are we really thinking about original stuff, or are we just writing down what we see? Not necessarily what we see with our physical eyes, but what we see with the third eye. So for example, if you are a writer and you write, you're going through your creative process, are you really writing original things, or are you writing something that's coming from an intelligence, right? Exactly. Somebody said freestyling. Perfect example. When motherfuckers just pulling shit out the air, nothing is premeditated. Pretty much just like my fucking videos. This isn't. I didn't know I was doing a video an hour ago, right? I'm looked in the mirror. I haven't did a video. It's time to do a video. Simple as that. So that's why I'm not even titling the videos. I'm speaking in code now. The reason I title the videos, I'll title this later, and I'm never going to title it later, is because I'm speaking in code. What do I mean by that? At this point, if you've been following me this long, and again, I know some people are new. Some people haven't been around since 2014, right? Hip Hop Alchemy series was dope. Appreciate that. So I've been doing it. I've been around for a while. I've been talking this shit for quite a long time. Not as long as others, but I've been around for quite some time. And I'm like, okay, I got almost 200 videos. It's some people that got way more than me. So it's not about competition. However, I feel, especially when it comes to the live streams, I'm like, okay, let me just speak normally and naturally. I'm not coming to you as a teacher. I'm just coming sharing information. To the point where, I don't care if this gets monetized or not. Some of my videos get monetized, some of them don't. But I'm still going to make it, so I won't know what happens until after the video is up. If it is, it is. If it's not, it's not. Because at the end of the day, the information is most important. Right? So give me 1 second. Let me check my time. All right, I got about 15 minutes, family duties, right? I'm already talking about all this stuff. So in these last 15 minutes, this is a demonstration of spirit. Because y'all saw me, the video, The Fires of Hades, or whatever it's called, right? You saw me do tarot. I'm just pulling random cards, right? So what I'm going to do for these last 15 minutes, I'm going to pull a couple cards and let's see what the spirit says about everything that's being said now. So give me a few seconds to shuffle up. And yeah, again, for anybody who, if I don't answer your question on the live stream, feel free to email me. But be patient, I may not get back to you directly, but I will get back to you. Well, not direct. I may not get back to you promptly, but I will get back to you. So you don't have to wait till I come online to ask a question. Or, you know, it's possible that the question has already been answered in another video as well, but I don't expect people to try to navigate that shit. And for the email, for the people that don't know, it's lordasar@gmail.com, LORDASAR at gmail.com. So feel free to hit up the Gmail. You know, you want to do business, or, you know, you just you want to answer a question. You need a question answered, whatever. So somebody asked me, what deck am I using? I'm using Thoth's deck. This is a deck by Aleister Crowley. You know what I mean? The reason why I prefer this deck over the other decks, I don't know every tarot deck out there, but what made me initially choose this deck, I got this deck back in 2013. So about 5 years now. My very first deck was a Crow's deck. I'm not sure if I showed that deck on here yet. I may show it eventually. But my very first deck was a Crow's deck when I was first getting into the tarot. Now, the reason I prefer this deck is because it's linked with the Hebrew alphabets. It's linked with the planetary energies, and it's linked with the elemental energies. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. I just have to shuffle this later. So, for example, the Lovers. So you see, so you got the imagery here. You got the number, but you also have the astrology sign and the Hebrew alphabet. So you get these two extras. So you're not just looking at the card. You get more information about further elaborating on what the card symbolizes. So let me just give y'all a close-up view of that for those who may not have seen this before. And obviously that's the number 4. Is that 4? No, that's 6. I'm looking at it backwards. All right? And obviously these cards are way more bigger than the average tarot deck cards, if you're wondering. Like, most tarot cards are not this big. So I like the size. I like how big the imagery is. So, you know, you can really look. These are meditation tools as well. You know. Somebody asked me about Bitcoin. Now, if I had a little bit more time, I would go into it. You know, but I had to say that the next time. So next time, and I guess you can schedule. I can schedule my live streams now. I guess that's a new feature. I guess you can do it if you was using a computer. You can schedule a live stream, but you couldn't really do it if you was using a phone. So now that I can schedule a live stream, I can pretty much let y'all know ahead of time when I would be coming on, so you would know the next time I'll be here. So I'll definitely schedule it ahead of time so people would know when to come in and I can talk about it. Right, so definitely the next one will be more about digital currency as a whole, because I believe Bitcoin, the last time I checked, is constantly going up and down. But just quickly, the Bitcoin was worth about around $3,000 to $4,000 US. The last time I checked, I'm not sure what it is now. So for every one Bitcoin, that's $3,000 to $4,000. So that lets you know right there. It's 6K now. Okay, cool. So for every one Bitcoin, that's $6,000 US. So that lets you know right there the highest frequency of currency, because everybody's on this money shit, right? The paper dollars. Bitcoin move way faster than paper money, right? So, but again, we get into that next time. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull a couple cards, and we're gonna see what comes up. Give it one last, just to see, just to give it, a mental exercise. That's what I call it. Because for those who are into the tarot, this is a thing you can do for yourself, right? If you do have a tarot deck, if you want to memorize your cards and you want to just go with the flow, just have an idea already in your mind, like I've been presenting this idea, whatever the fuck. and you just want to pull random cards and just see what comes up and see if you can connect it to what's being said, right? So let's see what this card is. So the first card is the Six of Swords, which has a meaning of science, right? Now, what does this have to do with what we were just talking about? This is also, you see the cross, right? So I just showed y'all the back. Just talking about the cross. Here we go once again. Now, what is this? Why does this card, let me give you a closer view. You know, there you go. Go all the way down. Now, what does science have to do with the Six of Swords? The science represents the unseen nature of the universe or reality. So what does this mean? So you see 6 swords coming together at the center point. And you look closer, you see the center point. Now, what is that center point? You can say it's the heart chakra, you know, because obviously you see on here, you know, it's a rose in the middle, right? You can say it's a heart chakra, which it is, because if you look at the number 6 on the tree of life, what is the number 6? Of course, the sun. If you look at the tree of life and you look at the 6 Sephira, the planetary representation is a Tebarif or Teparif, however you say it in Hebrew. It is the Hebrew word for the sun. So what is the science of the sun? And that's essentially what we've been talking about. The science of the sun is, you see all this chaos? You see the chaos, right? Because we were just talking about the chaos on spiritual warfare, mental warfare, all this. You see the chaos. Then you see it's a force field around the chaos, right? So you see the chaos. Then you see it changes form once it gets into this inner orb, right? So you see the pattern is different. So you see the outside patterns. Then the pattern is different once you get into this inner orb, right? The science is protection. So we are going to deal with this outside bullshit, right? That's what's going to fuck your day up, right? Shout out to you new to the channel. Shout out, you know what I mean? Appreciate you for tuning in and watching. So we all deal with this bullshit on a daily basis, all this fuckery, all this fuck shit, right? But when you create that orb, because you can say the crosses represent your spirituality, you being on your spiritual game. You being on your spiritual game is going to create this force field around you that makes everything look harmonious. So you see all this disharmony around, but you see the harmony within. You look within, it's harmonious. And that comes from your spiritual practices. You create a force field. So you don't change the world. The world isn't world peace. You just change your perception of it. And when you change your perception of it, you create that force field, and that force field keeps you spiritually protected. That's why it's the cross, right? The crossroads, you know, the cross has its own meaning as well, but we don't have to go into that right now. The cross has its own meaning, even separate from what I'm talking about. So once you know what the cross really means, that's going to give you an added layer of what the representation of this card means, right? Let's see what else we got over here. The 7 of Wands, which is valor. All right. Let's get a look at this. All right. So, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? Obviously, you see it's a pattern. Because now it's Leo. We're dealing with the sun, right? Leo. So remember, the number 6 was the sun on the tree of life. Leo, the sun. And you see fire, right? The greatest weapon we have for our spirituality is fire. What do I mean? You know, when you fast, you know, you connect with that fire. That hunger is fire. It's dealing with the fire. When you're dealing with the prana or you're dealing with the chi, controlling your chi, that's fire. because it will heat your body up. You take a deep breath in, you can feel the energy surge through your body. So whenever we're talking about elevation, whenever we're talking about ascension, what rises naturally? Fire. So whenever you want to evolve your spirituality, you connect with the fire element, because it naturally raises you up, whether you like it or not. So going back to this card, that's where the energy comes from. Because you see it's Leo, but it's also Mars, because Mars is also a masculine energy, but on a lower level. You can say the sexual masculine energy, whereas the sun represents the pure energy. So that's why you see the pure energy standing out in front, right? You see the pure energy, but then you have the access energies in the back. So you see, obviously, you see the fire in the back of all that. So you see the fire controlling it all. You see the 6 staffs in the X form, which is you can say it captures the fire. This is what you don't see. You don't see the fire in the 6 staffs. You don't see all this. This is all metaphysical. This is all spiritual. But what you see is the shining star, or the shining, stick, or basically a confident person, or a successful person, or whatever, somebody who's determined. That's what you see. So in real life, what you see is confident people doing things, right? But what you don't see the fire behind them, and you don't see the adversity behind them. See, valor comes from adversity. What do I mean? So you don't see the fire, you don't see what necessarily motivates them and what their determination is, and you don't see what their trials and tribulations is, which is the 6 staffs. But what you do see is the end result, which is the confident, successful person, or whoever, super sexually active person, whatever you want to call it. This is what you see, but you don't see the dynamics going on behind the scene that creates what you see. The unseen rules the scene. So when you put all this together, it's about the fires that creates it all, the adversity, because this is what's keeping a fire contained. The fire is contained, you can say, by the human body, or, we have limitations because we're not just in a spiritual form, at least, when we are in our waking state. When you are in your waking state, you are shielded, or you have, you're locked into the body. But the actual final manifestation is the valor. When you look past your limitations and you see how full and complete you really are. So everybody who, feels like they're incomplete, that's when you explore the other side of yourself, your sleeping life. What's going on with you when you sleep, or your emotional life, right? Okay, got a few more minutes here, so we'll pull another card, see what it is. Oh, once again, card I showed earlier, right? The Lovers, which is represent Gemini. And as we said, it's another number since, the Roman numerals for number 6. So if we take just a quick look at this card, just the information. So again, you see, because everybody sees something different, right? But I'm going to show you what I see. So you see these swords in the background, right? See these swords in the background. You see the angel. You can say it's Cupid. You want to say it's Cupid. You see these 2 beings. You also see this hooded being. So you see this hooded being, his hands, he's ruling over he or she. Then you see 2 people here. Then you see the kids. Then you see the animals, the snake, and the vulture, or whatever you want to call that. So it's a lot of dynamics to this image. This is a multi-layered image. So you see the angelic influence, the Cupid, you can say the limitations of the physical. You can say, the spiritual deities or the spiritual influences, the right and the left angel, or the right angel, the left demon, whatever you want to call it. So you got the spiritual influence going on up here, as well as you can say this is the mind. This big person here with his hands out, controlling the puppets or whatever, right? But what we actually see, the manifestation of these, is this: the 2 people and the 2 kids and the animals. So this is the physical level of the card, and this is the metaphysical level or the spiritual level. So all this upper stuff is controlling what we see here. So again, the card is called the Lovers, and obviously is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is what, the twin soul, right? Some people call it two-faced or the twin souls. You can be one way 1 minute and another way the next minute, right? But this is why that is, because you have a split personality. What it does is it splits everything up. So you see everything is split up, right? So you don't have a straight direction. You have what is called an androgynous spirit. An androgynous spirit is both masculine and feminine. We all have masculine and feminine energies in us, right? So this is what the Lovers represent. The Lover represents the other side of yourself that is looking for expression. So if you naturally express this level, then this is a level that needs your attention. You naturally express this level, this is a level that needs your attention. So it's talking about the other side of yourself that's still in play, just on a metaphysical or an unseen realm. So that's what it's talking about. So you see, so we have the conscious mind, right? We have the conscious mind, but you also have the mind that you don't see. You have the unconscious mind, or you have the subconscious mind, which has possibly a even greater influence than the conscious mind, right? So we'll do one more card, we'll get up out of here. Boom. The Knight of Disc, or the King of Disc, in some tarot decks it'll be the king. In this particular deck, the king is the knight. So the knight is the king. The King of Disc. And disc is coins. In other tarot decks, it may be coins. Alright? So in this card, you see that this is a man with vision. You see he's looking towards the sun. Right? So again, the sun is there. So you see the sun in this image too. Right? His horse is looking towards the ground, looking at all this stuff, the wheats. Right? And he, he's prestige. He got on his his military form. He got this. Many people don't know what this is. You may see ancient pharaohs with this. Many people don't even know what that represents. So it's symbols within symbols within symbols. And what is the Knight of Disc, or the King of Disc? Obviously, you see disc also. See, he's holding the disc here, then you see the disc here. What is a disc? It's information. It's stored information. Like a floppy disk, SD card, things like that. It's stored information. Information that is being stored. So when you look at this, where's the stored information? You can say the sun has stored information. Just like the sun has an intelligence. So it's talking about an intelligence. Just like the horse has intelligence. The grass has intelligence. Everything in this image has an intelligence. Even, to his outfit. These even have a certain vibration. So everything has an intelligence. So to be the King of Disc, or the king of stored information, or hidden information, information that you see with your eyes, but you're not tapping into the actual spirit. This is him tapping into the spirit. That's why he's looking to the sun. He has vision. He's not looking at people, places, and things. He's looking towards the sun. He's looking towards the sun because the sun is the source of stored information. That's why if you sun gaze, you can get revelations through sun gazing. People have, had all type of things come to them when they were sun gaze. So you can say he's sun gazing because he's in tune with his spirituality. And, his horse in turn becomes, healthy, in a healthy place. He's prestige. That's what comes from knowing your cosmic origins by connecting with the sun. So everybody who don't sun gaze, get your sun gaze on if you want to connect with your cosmic origins. You want to connect with ancestors. You want to connect with planetary energies. The sun is a gateway. The sun is a portal. Just say it like that. The sun is a portal for greater things. So right there, we end it. We end it there. I'll give an extra card for those who are into the tarot. Boom. You tell me what that has to do with everything I was saying. The 7 of Cups. what is this, debauch, the dissolving of reality. I'm not going to go into the meaning, but just as an experiment for those who are into it, you piece it together on your own. I'll give you the closer view. All right. All right. So I just wanted to share, what was on my mind recently, how I feel about certain things, and I'll definitely be back at you guys later on this week. I'll try to schedule it. If I don't schedule it, look for me at least Friday for sure, but I may come on before Friday if I have something to say. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in, watching. Hopefully you gain something from this. If it helps you in any way, salute. If it didn't, if this was just a waste of time for you, then it is what it is. With that being said, I'll see y'all soon. Peace, everybody out there. Stay up, stay focused, stay lit, stay on fire. Spiritual practice, protection, build up your aura of positive influence. Salute, Hotep. We out this motherfucker. How can I forget, though? How can I forget the music? Alright, so
DJ Cortez Canada on, man.
We out this motherfucker. Put my shirt on.
Fuck all that shit, bro. Today I feel like I want to talk my shit, so I'm dripping and whipping the chicken. Shout out my boy Cortez. Bitch, you just bought a whole lot of guns and way back on guns for no reason. You better have your gun when I see you. I promise you, boy, you gon' need it. You get hit with this shit inside this gun and fuck around and stop the breathing. She tried to treat me like I was a child. She said my day like she teasing. These niggas ain't cut. These niggas ain't throwing fuck. Them niggas want hitting them cuts. Them niggas want posting on none of them blocks. Them niggas want told them guns. Them niggas want serving negative things. Them niggas want selling them drugs. Most of these fans accepting the shit that these rappers be telling you. Shit really making me mad. Most of you rappers can come to the city. I ain't saying names, I'm skin on your ass. You niggas finna start making me stash. You talking the trash, you leaving the bag. It ain't Halloween, I pop up in the mask. Chopping shit down, you don't know the hell. Yeah, he think he the one time I smack him so hard, make him piss.
Alright, we out this motherfucker. Peace.
You disrespect bros for shit, make you shit on yourself. Boy, I hit you with this shit, I swear to God, bitch, you be begging for help. Nigga ran off for 700, turned around and said 7 agent on the bill. Bitch, you just bought a whole lot of guns and way back on guns for no reason. You better have your gun when I see you, I promise you, boy, you gon' need it. You get hit with this shit inside this gun and fuck around and stop your breathing. She tried to treat me like I was a child, she said my day like she teasing. These niggas ain't cut. These niggas ain't from. Them niggas want hit them cuts. Them niggas want posting on none of them blocks. Them niggas want choke them guns. Them niggas want serving negative things. Them niggas want selling them drugs. I was told to go get it and go. Start rapping about them niggas, leave them alone. But now just the ops, they try to say I'm wrong. And they keep Tuka naming all of these songs. But fuck all that off shit. Let's talk about getting guap, bitch. Or how I be fucking the top, bitch. Or how now I'm at the top, bitch. And you niggas not in the top.